Our car tester Emanuel Schaefer says there are no real sports cars to be had for under 30,000 euros, except this one, Toyota's GT86. So what convinces him to grant it that honor? Today, we're going to find out.
Diesen Titel zu tragen. Genau dem wollen wir heute auf den Grund gehen.
The GT86 hit the market back in 2012, and Toyota has sold 170,000 of them since. The car maker struck pay dirt with its concept of a lightweight body, low center of gravity, front engine, and rear-wheel drive. The fundamental characteristics of a classic sports car. Emanuel says one of the first arguments that you hear against the GT86 is that it doesn't pack enough power. Okay, 200 horsepower, 147 kilowatts, doesn't sound like much. He admits that, but the car's lightweight makes up for that. The GT86 tops the scales at 1.3 tons. In comparison, a Porsche Boxster weighs 100 kilos more, though it also has 100 more horsepower under the hood. But, he says, bear in mind that the cheapest Boxster costs nearly twice as much as the Toyota. The GT86 can hit 100 kilometers an hour from a standstill in 7.6 seconds. Toyota says it burns 7.8 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers on the road. If you push it a little, though, plan to burn a liter or two over that. Emanuel asks what makes a good sports car, how quickly it accelerates, its top speed. That's for muscle cars, he says. No one climbs in their sports car, hits the motorway, accelerates a couple of times to top speed, and then says, wow, that was a great outing. With a sports car, you're driving in the mountains and taking curves because that's where driving gets fun, especially accelerating out of curves and cornering. And that's something the GT86 does very well, he says. The stability in curves is largely due to the car's McPherson struts up front and a chassis brace in back. It also reduces the risk of rolling. The GT86 certainly looks like a sports car. Its large grille is complemented to the left and right by wicked headlights, racing-style spoilers, midnight black side mirrors, and a flat road-hugging silhouette. And of course, it has the obligatory 17-inch alloy rims, air outlets on the fenders, and a sweeping rear spoiler. There's not much trunk space, but that's par for the course in a sports car. And Toyota has made the interior as sporty as it comes. The short throws and shifting gears and the car's compact dimensions make it easy to control. It feels safe, not least because you don't even have to drive fast to enjoy the ride. Emanuel says one of the car's highlights is how much fun it is even at relatively low speeds. You're pretty close to the ground, he says, and the rear is a little skittish due to the rear-wheel drive, but that makes things lively. You can control things by hitting and letting off the gas, though you shouldn't overdo it, he warns. So it's less a car for fans of good longitudinal dynamics. It's more for those who like a little drift. As is only appropriate for a sports car, says Emanuel, Toyota didn't give the GT86 a turbocharger, but of course that means you have to push the engine a little. Fortunately, this vehicle likes it. It only hits its limits at 8,000 RPMs, which guarantees lots of driving pleasure. It's a blast to downshift and then stomp on it, he says. And the sound inside is just what you'd expect it to be from a pedigreed sports car. So at the end of the day, is the GT86 really the impossible dream? A sports car that won't make a serious dent in your retirement fund? Emmanuel says, all in all, he thinks it's absolutely correct to call it a sports car. And in its price to performance segment, aside from the Subaru BRZ, it has virtually no competitors. There's the Mazda MX-5, he adds, but depending on the engine, that can have up to 70 less horsepower under the hood.
51 kW bzw. 70 PS weniger Leistung.